Howdy, Ayebawl here. Welcome to another episode of Factorio with Arumba's Angel Plus Bod Mod Pack. So it's time to get the second half of the Peak Science up and running. So the majority of it, we had to deal with the thermal water, which gets turned into lithia water. So this is the current setup I'm going to use for the lithia cobalt oxide, and this is the setup I was going to use for the lithium perchlorate stuff. So I combined these three systems together into one blueprint, and found the proper space right up here next to the science area. So now the compact blueprint of these systems are put together in place. Let's go around and check all of the requester chests, set them up right, and then check all the belts, make sure that I laid everything down correctly, and then we'll add electricity to check the system, make sure that I didn't forget anything. There was a lot of times where I built each of these three systems and tore them down and rebuilt them, trying to find a nice setup. So the top pair of the electrolysis, I forgot to add the inserters. So now that all those are set, everything seems to be running. As soon as the robots get the plastic down there, we'll have tons of lithium-ion batteries. So with only 3 fissures of the thermal water, and granted I do have a lot of it in storage right now, but it will get eaten up pretty quick. So I figured that I don't need to have lithium ion batteries on both sides of this belt that heads towards the science area. So I'm going to pick all this up and leave only one side of the belt full. We'll have the robots do the rest. Alright, so the next thing is the sodium nitrate. I guess I don't need those anymore. Go ahead and box up some basic inserters. So in order to make these, I need the silicon wafer, and then that'll turn into the nitric powder. So for right now, I'm still circuit still using the Bod's mod method, but I'll probably change that to use the Angel's smelting method. So I'm just going to copy this setup and use this one. I will remove the pipes. But before I place it down, I need to relocate several robo ports. So I do plan on making more smeltings down the line in session later on. So I might as well move these robo ports into a more permanent location so they're not in the way. looks good enough. Alright, as soon as the robots come over here and place all the buildings down, I can swap the buildings to a different type of material, specifically the silicon. So nothing special is needed for these machines, just the quartz and the coal. And conveniently, there's quartz right there. Thought about removing that robot port a bit. It seemed to have a lot of connections, so figured I should just leave it alone. Didn't want to have to remove one and have to replace 3 more. Alright, so they're rolling out. I'll go ahead and put down a passive provider chest, just in case if the robots need to move them somewhere else. And I will also stick in the nitric powder just underneath where the brass and bar are being made. So I'll set up a simple little factory for them and just copy it up 4 times. Ah, got lucky. Put it in the right spot. Alright, so the next step is to turn this into, what was it, sodium nitrate? Maybe? I can never remember the names of all these powders. So I believe I already have nitrogen being barreled up somewhere. So that should make things a little bit easier. Just gotta set up a requester chest through. Have the robots bring all that nitrogen down. Alright, I could belt this over, but I didn't want it to mess with the functionality of everything. And since I've already got a ton of logistic robots that are just sitting around not doing anything, they now have a permanent job of moving all this over. But before I head up there, I want to grab my car, start utilizing it more, drop a charging point station, check out on lithium-ion batteries, head back down and see how many barrels of thermal water that I've got now that the ion batteries are backed up. Put it in a pressure chest, slap down 2 inserters, set a high number for the initial start, or the primer. Alright, there you go. I now have pink science. Yes! So, the first thing that I was wanting to set my research on was the advanced electronics, so I get the next tier of circuit boards. So I just need to move these labs over by one, so I can add the new size beakers. So I found it easier just to go ahead and remove all of them and just reset up the whole thing. So while I'm going to reset up these inserters so they graph from all three lines, I remove the other half so I can just copy this half, use the Foreman mod, and mirror that plan. Alright, so all the labs are in place and all set up to grab all the beakers now. Let's get these pinks over there. I think they're called the production science packs. Alright, so while the science packs get shifted over, we'll go ahead and learn Lasers Turn 2 to give the pink science packs a chance to back up a little bit. So one thing that I noticed, the Laser Mark IIs needed sapphire and Laser 3s needed rubies. And I don't think the gems are turned on the Bob's Mod config file. So I may have to go back in there and edit it. And the gems will pop up, it'll just happen to be past land that I have not covered, or that's not been generated yet, where the patches will hold up. So I just found out that the current labs I have will not do the new science speakers, or the production science. I needed Science Labs Mark II. And in order to build those, I needed blue belts. So I'm going to set up a quick little blue belt setup so I can get some. So I'm assuming that it is the Lab Mark IIs that I need. So I'm going to make like a couple to check it out. And it looks like, yep, that was it. So I'll replace 5 at a time so I don't have extra science labs, or a whole bunch of science labs sitting around. But there you have it. I've finally got pink science being researched now. So after I get, I'm going to call them green circuits because that's what the graphical interface, or the graphical picture for them is, I think. So electronic logic boards. Yes. That would be probably the next thing that I set up. Because everything I want to build now is going to utilize those new circuits. So when looking at the first tier of the power armor, you need the high-tech science speakers just to make the power armor. So I'm going to research the power armor, and then research after that will be to get to the high-tech science speakers. I noticed that my carbon I was producing was not enough, so I decided to go ahead and double that up and swap everything out to red belt. and also upgrade the buildings to the highest tier that I can currently make. Well, that should take care of that. Should not have a carbon problem anymore. And just to make sure that I don't ever have a carbon problem again, we'll make one more. Because why not? Alright, well, that's going to be it for today, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.